I'm Birgit Effinger. I'm curator, author, moderator, but I'm also teaching at art universities. And my background is I was a co-director of the Kunstverein Tiergarten, which is a program for female film artists, and I was co-directing it with my colleague for around 18 years, which is a long time, and the object of the program is to force the representation of female fine artists. It's a one-year program, you have to apply for that, and then there are around 15 stipendiaries. And it's looking behind the scenes, and it's the object is to bring into dynamics the still bad numbers of, if you look at representation, art prizes, galleries, and so on. It's wherever you see a lack of female fine artists, even if it seems it's getting better now. So, and I was working for this program, and then I was wondering between this time, okay, how does art education looks at art universities? Because there is still, the most important part, which still is on the doing artwork, producing art, but there's a great lack about questioning the context, talking about the art, finding the language for expressing myself, and so on and so on. And then I started teaching at different art schools. I'm still doing this because there's still a lack going on. And then I'm also curating, especially in collective contexts and with different approach and with a variety of mediums, radio programs, or doing a magazine, or in temporary spaces, but also in institutional spaces. So, and yes, my privilege is I'm white, so I'm well educated, and meanwhile I get a great network, which makes it, yeah, it's not difficult for me, and it's easier with that network to really doing those different art of activities, and also to find, to doing those activities I like to going deeper into something, and to doing the other things less, or yes, to keep it in balance, which makes it easier. And I'm also a member, this is really important for me, at the NGBK. It's a democratic Kunstverein, it's called in German, where the members are deciding about the whole program. So you can also building up an activity group there, and make a suggestion about program or project you would like to talk about it. And I'm working there at the so-called COA, Koordinationsausschuss, which is for me really, it's important for me because it's a discussion background. I'm getting involved, what people are thinking, what is important about it, and I'm really, and this with other groups it's important for me to think about, okay, what is important about artistic practice in general and in our times. Well, I'm living in Berlin, and I'm staying the most time in Berlin. I'm teaching at different art schools in whole Germany. Next week I'm traveling to Mainz, and then I'm teaching also in Hamburg and in Stuttgart and so on. So, which is quite interesting for me because every art university got his own special atmosphere and looking deeper at this and looking what teaching about art means, can be so different, and so I get in touch with all those different varieties. But the most part I'm staying in Berlin. And the people I get involved with are different art students, this is one, but also artists. And I'm also interested, sometimes I'm temporarily conceptualizing an education program for the Hamburger Bahnhof with other colleagues. And so the people I want to meet there are people who are not so used to get in touch with art in their daily life. For them it's a special event, and to make art accessible for them is also what I would like to do. And I already mentioned it, the NGBK is another context for me, and yeah, so it's different, but yeah, different people. Well, I already mentioned it, to whom I'm speaking. I'm speaking to art students and to artists, to people who are not normally involved in art, and to friends also, to my friends and to artists group. And my commitment is at the first building up those myths. There are so many narratives, but still narratives. I'm totally shocked when I realized it. But there are so many narratives about producing art, what does this mean, about the male genius is getting around in different stories, if you look there. And one of my commitments is really to build up those myths, and also to make clear that artistic practice and art is still, even if it doesn't look so at normal society spaces, it's still an important thing for our society. It's still something you can make a special experience where you can't make this experience, not doing sports, not going to restaurants, not going to cinema. It's still a special experience, even if it's feeling difficult at the first sight. And but it's worth to make this experience and to explain and make it accessible to doing that experience is one of my commitments. The other is when I'm working with artists, what I'm really enjoying is it working at eye level. I don't understand myself as someone, even while teaching, you have to do it like this, or you do have to do it like this. On the other hand, I'm understanding myself as somebody who has another education, and maybe another side on what is going on to artistic practice and what art means. And my know-how and the artistic know-how are two profiles who are supporting themselves. And it's like the egg, what's coming first, the egg or the chicken? You can't tell. It's what's the most important thing. Both are necessary. Well, when I'm teaching, let's start with that one. When I'm teaching, there is a certain kind of topic, for instance, positioning the artwork, and I'm thinking about how to start certain kind of reflection at the student side. And I'm thinking about, because as I already mentioned, I'm not the one who is telling them you have to do it like this or you have to do it like this, but who is telling them, okay, here is your artistic practice, and this means more than producing it. It means really to think about it on the conceptual side, and what is the horizon, what are my relationships in the historical art scene, because anybody starts at zero. There is still a lot of things, and you are also in dialogue with the art history. Well, and my aim is also to create an atmosphere where people can tell about where people can working together. So, and I'm still reflecting on, okay, what is possible and what can I do, and how can I bring people into a certain kind of going on and widen their horizon sometimes. And the other commitment is working together with artists is, I'm doing my part, the other doing a part, and working together. It's more about, okay, clarifying at the beginning how we would like to work together. This is one thing, and the other thing is creating things together. Especially as a curator, I'm not understanding myself as someone who is making a plan and telling people, you have to do this, or you have to do this, or you have to do this. For instance, I made a project, it was in 21, I think, it was in Spandau at the Zentrum für Aktuelle Kunst, and it was dealing with doing collaborations. And it was Corona was happening at that time, and so we spent almost a year about thinking about what does that mean, and what does this mean in the end if there is not only one individual artwork happening, and if there is still work happening which is came by working together. And what is also, and then a lot of questions are arising there. For instance, what is also important to tell is the process. What role plays the process itself? Or is it important to let people know about the process, that this thing is happened at working together? There is no individual person behind. And so on, and this was quite interesting because we have not much time, which is really a luxury in one hand, and it was really great because it's always was a possibility to reflect about the own role, and not and changing things, because at the beginning it first was clear that I, as the curatorial part, I'm writing all the text and so on and so on and so on, and then I realized I don't feel comfortable if with these special roles who are so, at the first sight, so normal and so comfortable at the one side. But and then this was a good possibility to reflect and re-questioning all those issues and to find another way of dealing together. So, and when I'm writing, I forgot to mention this, sometimes I'm writing, and when I'm writing, it's for me a good possibility to think what is coming out when I'm confronted with a certain kind of artwork, and what is coming out, because it's always there is the artwork itself or a kind of text or whatever, and but I also have to do the other part. It's not, the things are not there just by themselves. I also have to do something, and this is a really good possibility to think, to go deeply into something, and it's always quite astonishing what's coming out after those processing, and I'm really enjoying it. And this is completely different because I'm working by my own, and it's a bit, sometimes it's uncomfortable, in the end it's always fine, but it's also, a different part from working with people together. Well, the shortest question is the most difficult questions. I would like to say just yes and that's it, but it's not so easy, as we know. And this "are you" is it's difficult because in my eyes feminism is not just a fixed thing and you can tell, like you are in a party, I am or I am not. For sure I'm interesting and I would like to say yes I am and I am, but feminism for itself, it's more complex, as we already know. There is no one feminism, this is the old thing, and it has got its long story, which is quite interesting. And if we look about this long story and the whole development, feminism in my eyes is also a kind of thinking movement. And because there is no other, in my eyes, philosophical development than feminism, who was reacting on criticism, who was thinking about our society, who was able, if we look at the art historian feminism, who was able to integrate aspects of psychoanalysis, who was reflecting the relationship about viewer and artwork and so on and so on. And if you look about the whole development, for me it's the most exciting development about thinking and on the philosophical side. And on the other thing, which is also quite interesting for me, feminism is a thing about really a matter of attitude, and also at the same time reflecting power structures, which is quite important. And also, yeah, I would like, if I say I'm a feminist, I would add I'm an intersectional feminist, not just feminist. So, but to make clear, I'm not thinking about gender as an essential mode. It's more about structures and a relative mode. So, but yeah, to look at in the whole, because there are so many fashion feminism currently going down, and so it's quite different to say, okay, I'm not part of this one, I'm part of the other one. And on the other hand, it's for me it's really difficult to say I'm a part of it, because it's also a process. And it's a thinking process, it's not fixed. And this is, for me, it's the most exciting thing, that it's not fixed and it's able really to react on current, but also if you look at the past, on current issues, and where is it necessary to put on or to react with a really deep critical approach. So, yeah. And if we look at the terms of critique, yes, I'm a feminist.